Bob, did you steal my glasses?
He likes to accuse people when he can't find his
Here we go.
stuff.
Of course, microphone is also.
A little
Come
limp,
on.
limp again today or not?
Yes, watch it. It sags is what it does, Bob. You know about things like that. Look. Did you see that? Sag mic. Your mic's not on, Bob.
Yes, it is.
Now it is. I think that was Horse's fault. We have a new commercial, by the way. I don't know for what company where there's a horse involved. I think that we're going to play later. Could be very exciting. Ron, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Joe. Should be a great show today. A lot to talk about. How was your weekend? How's your teeth?
Teeth are good.
You had issues with your teeth last week.
I was having tooth problems. Pretty good. Thanks to my friend Samantha over at Fox Chapel Dentistry, Ron.
You didn't take my dad's solution, rub a little whiskey on them.
I may have, yeah.
That's what he always used to say.
I also played golf yesterday.
Oh,
More importantly,
we got to
ribs.
tell him the big news from last week.
Yes, we do.
He has been invited to play at Oakmont.
Yes, I have.
Tremendous.
Do you want to play? You want to be in the foursome with me?
Joe, it is the most difficult thing you're going to do.
Would you like to be in the foursome that I'm going to have?
No.
He doesn't want to be
No,
there.
he says.
Not-
I wanted him to
not
say
for
yes,
this
and
thing.
then I would have said, I'll think about it, Ron. That was my dream, but he guessed that I was going to do
How
that.
about him? Could you see him on Oakmont? I can't even imagine. And I can't imagine any, I don't want to say idiot, out there that would invite him, but I can't even believe it. I still can't believe
It's
it.
a great thing.
I thought about it all weekend, him actually playing at Oakmont.
You will be excited to play, and then it becomes something of a really difficult assignment to the point where in the back nine, you'll be dragging, your tongue will be out of your mouth, even with a caddy.
Oh,
And
please.
you have to take a caddy.
I was at that course. I watched Angel Cabrera smoke a cigarette on the 18th
Yeah,
green.
guess what?
That still brought those guys to their knees.
You are not.
Not the walking part of
You'll
it.
love it for
The
the
course itself. I
The
think I
course
can handle the actual walk.
Maybe.
I told the story going up in the elevator to Penguins game with Mario and Pierre, and it might have been one of the amateurs or something that was at Oakmont. And I said to Mario, "You played there lately?" And he goes, no, no. And Pierre goes, "He's afraid to play it out there. It's too tough for him." And Starkey's going to take it on? Will you
Joe.
let him use your personal locker? I know you belong there. You have your own locker. Will you let Starkey use your locker?
He can use whatever he wants. He's going to have to use everything in his power just to keep the ball on the fairway. And if you don't, look out. When you get to the greens, just hope you don't four-putt.
I mean, I'll just pick up the ball and
No,
keep
you
going.
won't. That's not how they play at Oakmont. You play by the rules. You don't pick up.
I lost probably 10 golf balls on 9 holes at Montour yesterday. I'm
Well,
dead serious.
do
There was
well
one
at
that I hit
Oakmont.
straight. I couldn't even find one I hit
Well, you're
straight.
playing in muddy conditions. This is not the time to play. This is the time to practice.
He'll
This
do
is not the
well.
game, Joe. This
Practice?
is practice.
He'll
We're
do
talking
well
about
at
practice.
Oakmont.
I'm going to do great. I couldn't lift the irons at all yesterday. I couldn't lift the ball.
Yeah, progress is that you didn't have any pain in your oblique.
That's right.
Good.
That's
You're
all
making
I
a first
care
step,
about.
And that's all. That
By the time June rolls around, not only will I be ready for Oakmont, I'm going to put up the best score since who was the best score ever at Oakmont?
you don't want
Didn't Johnny Miller shoot 63?
63?
Final day to win the U.S. Open.
I'll shoot a 61
On
the
6
top,
holes.
on the first 5. I had a bogey yesterday, Bob. I opened up Montour with a bogey. I'll say
that's
that much.
That's a short hole down the hill. You should make bogey. You should make par. If you're going to make par, that's the hole to do it on. If you do
and
it,
then he rips me on my first hole, Ron.
I just got a text from Jim Fish, who's reconsidering his invitation to you to Diamond Run because of your poor outing yesterday.
Well, everybody has a poor outing when we first start, right? Even
yeah,
Bob.
it is an acquired thing. You have to take time. You have to be patient. If you
I
do
suck.
that,
I
you'll
suck,
be fine.
Bob.
I
But
would
that's
not
okay.
recommend. In all seriousness, I would not recommend Oakmont to you right now, unless you just want to experience it for that reason.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
that reason
who
only.
cares?
Well, you will care after a while.
Not really.
Yes, you will.
No, I won't.
It will beat you up.
And then I'll get a free steak afterward and say I played Oakmont.
That's
Right?
all he cares
Well, then
about.
why don't you just, instead of playing, just sit on a nice rocking chairs on the porch?
Because I want to experience standing at the in the tee box hitting balls at Oakmont.
Right. Going into the 9-inch rough, then into the bunker, then
Yes.
into the ditch,
Yes.
and then onto the green, 4-putt. Yeah. Where do you get to number 2?
I can't wait. You know what's going on here, Ron? The likes of Bob and the company he keeps
doesn't want
does not
a
want
lowlife.
people like me
No,
in a
no,
place
no,
like Oakmont.
no.
This is his
His-
roundabout
no,
way
no,
His
no.
of trying
world
to
is
dissuade me.
I want anyone out
His
there.
world
Yes,
is
it
different
is.
than your
It's
world.
a
412
roundabout way.
Our world. It's
Right.
412-928-9370. Anyone
you'll
out there
call the
who
people
has
over
played
there.
Oakmont, call and you tell Joe what he's
You-
going to
and
go through.
then
Now, the experience is great.
Either
but
Bob
you-
will call them, or or
This has
somebody will
nothing
call
to do
him
with
and
that.
say, "Good job.
This
We don't
has to-
want that guy over
This
here."
has
No,
to
that's
do
what he does. He
about
doesn't-
your readiness.
he
You should
doesn't.
not play golf courses where you're not ready to play them.
Bob
you
lives
just
in
really
an
should.
entirely
you for
different,
keeping the
lives
riffraff
in an
out.
entirely different world
Right.
than you and I.
That's right.
His people
I
don't
see a
want
text. The
our
text just
kind.
beeped in.
I have a lot of
probably.
people who played Oakmont out there. If you've played, call and please make Joe understand what he's in store for.
Bob, of course. I mean, it's a joke that I would be out there. Yes, but that's not going to dissuade me.
No, I'm just saying you're going to be more discouraged when you're done than you are encouraged.
How do you know?
Because I know that I've been. There are times I want to walk off the golf course because it's so brutal.
Well, my mentality is the reason I'm playing golf right now is I went out to Montour and played 18 holes. The guy, one of my kids' friends' parents, Mark Ray, finally convinced me. And I played some of the worst golf you've ever seen, but I had one good shot, and that's what kept me coming back. So I could play Oakmont and be literally the worst player who ever played there. But if I hit one good shot the whole day, that's what I keep with me.
That's a good way to think. It normally happens on the 18th. It's the final spasm of a dying man.
Meantime, I like that. Meantime, there's only one place to start today, gentlemen. Well, it's with JP Roofing off the top, and it's with Bob Pompiani, brought to you by PNC Bank. Make today the day. The Aaron Rodgers story comes out of nowhere. Mike Florio saying that basically there's already been negotiated deals with the Titans, Broncos, and Steelers.
But we should
And-
also point out the Green Bay beat writer for The Athletic came out and said the Packers deny it all.
I know.
So-
I'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
Ron, I feel like Bob is sabotaging me in every way today to keep me
No,
from
I'm
Oakmont.
just-
I think he is.
He's trying to
from
break your
Oakmont.
spirit,
He is.
isn't he?
Break.
Trying to
That's
break
exactly it.
your human spirit. It's strong today.
Look,
when
he's
you
already
started.
answering a test.
Oh.
Thank you for keeping the riffraff out of Oakmont.
All right,
Somebody's
Joe,
on this.
What did you make? I was
Well, let's
stunned.
get to it. Let's get to what actually happened here.
I was
and then I'll
stunned.
throw it to you guys.
I was stunned.
The Titans, Broncos, and Steelers, according to Florio, have deals in place to where one phone call, I'm out, and they press a button and the deal is made. So the first question is, yes, do you believe that that's true?
I do not.
I do not.
I do not believe. Well, I don't know if the other teams are true or not. I just can't believe the Steelers would be doing that. And Florio's point, and that's not a fly-by-night site. I mean, Pro Football Talk, he's pretty good, I think.
He is.
Me too.
He's been wrong too.
Yeah,
they all
well,
have.
yeah,
It's
but I
what it
mean,
is.
we all have been. But I just want to point out, this isn't some fly-by-night blogger throwing this out there. It's a legitimate guy. I just can't believe it. And his point was, well, Rodgers can't just say, I want to go here. This stuff all has to be prearranged, and that he's going to make his decision either the Packers or one of these other three teams. I just don't see it being Pittsburgh under any circumstance, Bob.
I just don't either. I think it's too much money. I think it's too much equity for a guy who may play a year. Who knows? He's awfully, I don't know what the word is, narcissistic. There's something about him. I heard Charles Barkley describe it this way. He said he's like the girl who you're dating, and you have to tell her every hour that she's pretty and that she looks good. And when you don't, she demands that you tell her, do I look pretty? Do I look good? And Charles said, I just said you did. You want it again? And that's how he.
What does that have to do with the Steelers, whether they have a deal in place?
I'm just saying, my point is, I don't know about whether or not he's committed to play for as long as he is. How will he play at age 40? I don't know those answers. I also know it'll take a large percentage of their salary cap, and they have a lot of issues to try to change.
Well, it's a hell of a thing to get wrong. I'll say that much. But I tend to agree with you guys and agree with that Packers beat writer from The Athletic. I don't believe that there's a deal in place.
They have a little bit of a hissing contest going by, like
Who does?
Florio, and I saw one tweet he sent out. I can't believe the Green Bay media is spewing out every word that the Packers say.
Yeah.
So they're going back and forth a little bit.
Like I said, it's a hell of a thing to get wrong, to just be blatantly wrong about, that one of the league's flagship franchises has a deal in place to acquire the MVP of the league and that all it would take is one press of a button. So I have to say, part of me does believe it. Like, I'm not just willing to disregard it completely, but I do lean toward your side. It is a little bit hard to believe. But man, what a thing to report if it's not accurate, Ron.
And his argument, not argument, he goes, no, this isn't the Steelers' way. They don't do this. They're not big spenders in free agency normally. They don't make big splashy moves. They try to build within. But his point was it's a stagnating franchise. He pointed out that TV ratings local were down 10% last year. I don't know if that's true or not.
I would say no, not from what I've seen on our channel. I don't know.
And your channel's the one that does most of the games.
We done most of the games, and I don't think they were. They may have been down a little bit. 10%'s a lot.
And then he also pointed out, and this is true. I mean, no shows. There were like 8,000 a game. No shows.
No shows though are not indications that people aren't buying tickets.
No, they're not spending money on parking, on
Right.
food, on jerseys, on anything else. And he just felt like his point was this is a tired, stagnating franchise. And I have a hard time arguing with that. I mean, they are stagnating for me.
But that's different
still,
than reporting that they're interested in a
Right.
deal. That's opining on why they might be interested
Right.
in a deal.
Exactly. I think he's just trying to show that, his reporting isn't totally ludicrous here, even though I just don't believe it.
So wait, Bob, you don't believe that TV ratings, Sports Business Journal, you don't believe they were down 10%?
Well, overall, we don't have all the games. I see the ratings on what we do that lead into post game that we do, and they're all very much what they've been. Again, I'm looking at it at a glance from what I see year to year. It doesn't. I don't know what 10% is a lot of percentage. It may be. We have night games that are on different networks. 5 of them go away from CBS. So generally speaking, I'm only talking about the ones I see on
Okay.
CBS. I don't know about the entire package.
Well, where do we go from here then?
I got a question.
With Aaron Rodgers.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Would you want them to make that deal?
Well, like with every deal, it would depend on what they would have to give up. But yeah, for the two-time.
According to CBS, it's this year's number 1, next year's number 1, next year's number 3, and then the next year potentially another number 1. So it'd be
Well,
three
so
number
there's two
ones.
questions then. Would you want them? Would I want them to make the deal? And would it be the right deal to make? Do you think they would want?
First
to
of all,
make
let me
that
ask you
deal?
this then, just on top of that. Would you be willing to pay what the report is?
$50 million?
$50 million a year. Now, to me, all of this makes little sense in that you won't be able to do much else. And then ask yourself, is this team good enough even with him? Because Green Bay was better than Pittsburgh last year with Aaron Rodgers, and they still couldn't get to where they needed to go.
I mean, if you're a 9-win team without Aaron Rodgers, what are you with him?
Again, it depends on other things, too. If their offensive line is what it was and doesn't get appreciably better, and maybe more than appreciably, a significant better, you could still have problems that way. I don't know. He's 30. He's going to be 39.
In December.
There's a part of me that just says, you know what? What are you really getting out of this? I understand what it would mean in terms of excitement. I understand why people would clamor to have it because you got an MVP, a quarterback. It's the most important position. It's all we ever talk about. I get all that. But I'm wondering about what it would do in terms of limiting how they solve all of their other issues.
To me, if you don't want Aaron Rodgers at that price, then you must believe that the Steelers are in the middle of rebuilding. So then I would have to ask you, why not trade T.J. Watt? Why not just get rid of people and accumulate all kinds of picks? If you don't think you can win now, and they always do, why wouldn't you want Aaron Rodgers?
Well, I don't think just bringing him in here would make them a winning team necessarily, more of a winning team, because I think then you wouldn't be able to address your other issues. The line wouldn't be any better. You could lose 3/4 of your secondary. Yeah, I mean, your offensive line still looks weak to me. Is he going to be appreciably better behind that offensive line? I don't think so if you don't add other places.
Well, I don't know that acquiring him precludes you from adding in any other place.
Well, if you have a $50 million cap hit.
Well, there's a lot of ways to. First of all, we don't know that that's true. Then there's a lot
he
of
might
ways to write
he
it
might
up
give the
too.
Steelers a break to play for Mike Tomlin. He loves Mike Tomlin.
Well, there's also different ways to write up a contract, right? Where it doesn't necessarily have to be that huge of a hit. Let's say year one. But if you don't think, forget about whether you do this deal. If you don't think Aaron Rodgers just by himself would represent a significant upgrade, then by definition, I think you must believe that the Steelers have so many issues that they're rebuilding.
I do.
So why keep T.J. Watt around then?
Because he's still young and he's under contract. You know what you're going to have to pay him, and I think he still could be an ascending player. I don't know that you're rebuilding for 5 years when he's going to be gone. I think, a couple spots this year and then maybe a quarterback next year, you have a chance to come back pretty quick.
I think in their eyes, they don't look at themselves the way a lot of people do, like they're in a rebuild. They look at themselves as a team that came off the playoffs. However you want to.
Oh, no, they look at themselves as a team that can win
Right.
now. So
They
why wouldn't they have a deal with Aaron Rodgers in place,
Again,
would be my
because
question.
my only question to that would be then, okay, how do you solve what else you need? And if you believe that Aaron Rodgers single-handedly could come in here and reverse what they do in terms of offensive ability to score 30 points a game, fine. But I don't because I don't think he's going to have – they need wide receiving help. They need offensive line help. They need a lot of things on offense that they don't have right now. And I don't know if you can solve those in this year's draft and free agency if you pay him what he needs to be paid. That's my concern.
From their perspective, they think they can win every year. They probably think they're going to have a really good defense with Tuitt back, with Alo back, that'll make their inside linebackers better. They already have a star at every level of their defense. They think they can win right now. So if a report came out that this was true, I wouldn't be totally stunned. But it sounds like you guys would be.
There's another report out there that says they're right in the middle of the Mitch Trubisky sweepstakes. So who knows?
Oh boy!
Well, that's
you
a
mentioned
lot
the magic.
different.
I'm just saying. If you believe whatever you want to believe. I'm just saying that report. If you're going to believe,
that's been multiple people, and that just makes sense for the price.
Right. That's what to me, that makes more sense for the price than it does.
And then, the Packers, the GM said he hasn't been contacted by anybody for a trade. Is he flat out lying? That wouldn't be the first time they lied,
yeah.
but I guess you can twist it around. Well, he's not really lying. He didn't receive a call. He just said that last week.
Right.
Pretty emphatically, apparently, too. So
you believe him?
I don't know what to believe.
You believe
like
any
Ron
of these
said,
guys?
Do you believe reporting? What do you believe? Here
I
we
do
are
buy
in
Florio's
NFL
argument.
fantasy land until this gets solved, and it will be solved in the
Florio's
next
argument
10
is different than
days.
Florio's reporting.
His his reporting also was not reporting, but just this is true that you don't just Aaron Rodgers doesn't just say I'm going somewhere and they do the
That
deal.
part of it, I believe,
it has
too.
to be done in advance because it's so complicated.
I believe
he
that.
has the choice of either staying in Green Bay or asking them to trade him, and then the Florio's report is he's got to pick between these three teams who already have a deal done.
Right.
So, if his reporting is accurate, I think that's very true. He doesn't just come to them today and say, you know what, I'm out of here. I want to go to Pittsburgh and never having
No,
done
that
it.
part of it I agree with
that
because I think
makes sense.
he
the
got
question
that
is
in
whether the
writing
Steelers
last year.
are one of the teams, and we don't believe it
And
as a group.
if that amount of draft equity is right, that's a lot.
I don't believe it.
I don't either. That's just me.
Horse, what are they saying in Denver? Do they believe it out there that the Broncos are very much in this and have a deal ready in case it should come to pass?
The word in Denver is it's Green Bay or Denver, and there's no discussion anywhere else.
That's what Denver folks are writing?
Yeah.
Well, they have their new head coach who knows everything about Aaron Rodgers. So to me, that is a reason to check box Denver if you're looking at it from that point of view.
I still think he's staying in Green Bay. And did you see the GM or the coach, LaFleur, said they hired Tom Clements, to be the quarterback's coach, and they said he was significantly involved in the hiring. Rodgers. He and Clements were very close when Clements was his coach before. I think he's going to stay in Green Bay.
That's my bet.
That is my bet.
Why'd they draft Jordan Love then?
Why does any team draft quarterbacks? Look at all.
You don't draft a quarterback that high and make the move you did
Well,
if you're not planning on that guy taking over.
I think New England thought at the time Tom Brady wouldn't last this long, and so they drafted Jimmy Garoppolo.
Not in the first round where they were aggressive, moving up to get him.
Second round. My point is, they may think one thing, just looking at Father Time, saying, "Well, at some point we're going to need somebody." To me, that was a wrong pick at the wrong time. I will agree with that. And they needed help to try to win then with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback, and they chose to go in that direction, which was a bad call.
Although they have been to a couple NFC title games since
I understand.
then.
No, what I'm saying, though, that didn't make sense. At the time, I didn't think it made sense because he was still
most people
36
didn't,
or whatever.
but people didn't think it made sense to draft Aaron Rodgers either when you already had Brett Favre.
And he ended up waiting how long?
And then people want to bitch and moan about the Steelers not having a, quote, succession plan in place. Who does, by the way? Not even the Packers did. Aaron Rodgers dropped into their laps late in the first round. Nobody planned on that. Nobody really has. Very few teams in history have implemented a successful succession plan for a star quarterback. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, you can think you have something, but it's never going to be what you really need, and you won't know it until time. And then there's the domino effect that comes into play when you have certain other things happen, like in the Steelers case with Shazier. You know, you think you have everything sewn up, some catastrophic injury comes along, you redraft, now you're digging out, and you can't use other draft picks for other things you might have thought you have freedom to do. And because of one injury, it changed everything.
Having said all that, if the Steelers traded for Aaron blanking Rodgers, this town would go crazy.
And they would go crazy. And it would be fun to cover it. It'd be fun to watch it. I don't have any problem saying that. I'd like to see that just for that reason. But at the same time, the realist in me with regard to how the Steelers do it would be shocked.
Two questions. Do you believe this is true, that the Steelers have a deal in place, and would you want them to make that deal? 412-928-9370.